Hello queens, angels, and goddesses. Welcome back to my channel. Warning: this contains boy love, and if you don't like it then please get off my channel. Water pistol. Grinning face with cowboy hat. No, Kindaichi said with the most stern look he could muster, which was to say not very stern. Dart. I haven't said anything yet. Kageyama frowned, clearly confused at the firmness his boyfriend was showing, even though it was only 9:30 in the morning and neither had ingested caffeine or hot cocoa yet on this winter day. He stayed at the doorstep, his breath coming in small puffs because of the low temperature of the building, and it didn't cross his mind that he could get into his apartment before initiating a conversation with his partner, who also seemed to have forgotten they could talk over breakfast. It didn't bother Kageyama, though, so it wasn't a big deal. I know what you're going to ask me, Kindaichi groaned. So my answer is no. "'S not true," Kageyama muttered. Kageyama, it's the same story every time. But it's not the same topic? A wave of irritation mixed with fondness bloomed at the back of Kindaichi's mind, since despite all the seriousness and the authority he wished to display, he had to admit that the sight of Kageyama, dressed in his sports clothes, with those sports leggings a bit too perfect, face slightly red by the cold and effort, cradling a brown spotted white kitten, was truly adorable. Kindaichi couldn't handle situations categorized as cute. They didn't often occur in his life, but ever since he had been dating Kageyama they seemed to have piled onto each other, waiting for the right moment to torment him at every street corner. And it was probably at a street corner Kageyama found that kitten. Why was life stubbornly cruel? If by topic you mean not the same animal, then yes, right, but it always ends in a catastrophe. "It let me pet it," Kageyama specified, as if it would solve the problem. "Like every other animal you brought back, who all ran away in the night after wrecking the house." Ugh. Apparently Kageyama couldn't find an appropriate answer to this truthful remark and bearer of accusations. A cat would have fun tearing apart curtains and knocking down any containers, a dog would chew furniture and leave drool anywhere it went, and Kindaichi didn't even start on injured birds that defecated almost every 5 minutes. No, Kindaichi didn't see at all how beneficial it would be to keep a pet, especially since his boyfriend was as inept with animals as he was with people, and anybody who knew him could deduce that it wouldn't work well. Kindaichi sighed, then stepped aside. Kageyama raised an eyebrow, but his face was betraying the glimmer of hope that just came up in him. "It's the last time, okay?" Kindaichi grumbled. "If the cat begins to make a mess, you'll stop picking up every creature you find." "They're not creatures," Kageyama exclaimed, offended. Although Kindaichi wasn't pleased with the situation, he chuckled, amused by the scowl his boyfriend had immediately exchanged for an expression of pure excitement. Kageyama finally walked into his own apartment, the cat meowing and demanding more caresses, which the young man was more than happy to provide. Eyes shining with bliss and lips curved in a radiant smile, he didn't even let go of the animal to take off his shoes, which he managed to do with single foot and ankle rotative moves he had mastered over the years. And Kindaichi closed the door, worrying his lower lip and groaning out of embarrassment because shit, he yielded again. Well, to his defense, he couldn't resist to the idea of seeing Kageyama so happy thanks to something as banal as spending time with an animal. Kageyama Tobio, an intervention about so much cuteness had to be urgently done. 4 years ago, Kindaichi would have never associated Kageyama and adorable in the same sentence, but here he was. Head over heels for a volleyball nerd. Bah! It wasn't that bad. Hardly had he set foot in the kitchen to finish preparing breakfast when he heard a screech from the living room, and he slowly rubbed his temples. Was it possible to switch moods 3 times in the span of 10 minutes? "What the hell Kageyama, you've had your cat for 5 minutes. Kindaichi hissed. "It ripped the latest issue of Volleyball Monthly." Kageyama shouted. "Come back here." It seemed that the little rascal managed to dodge its new master's threatening hands, and it took refuge behind the legs of the second person living in the apartment with a meowing. Kindaichi dropped his eyes towards the shape stuck to his tibia. He lifted them again and met a half-irritated, half-pouting Kageyama. "That was your choice," Kindaichi reminded. He squatted down and petted the kitten's head, who let out purrs of satisfaction. "You simply have to be nice," Kindaichi joked. "I am," Kageyama mumbled. Kageyama bent down in turn and stared at the kitten, as if he was expecting it to flee at his sight, but when it docilely remained sitting under Kindaichi's hand, Kageyama judged it safe to stroke it on the back. And he beamed, once again, when the animal purred. Kindaichi supposed they finally found the right pet. Warning: this fanfiction does not belong to me, neither does the fan art. Credits to the original artist and author to the fan art and the fanfiction. Haikyuu does not belong to me either. Well, bye children, smiling face with hearts.